So we were just talking about ways that we've been stuck, and marketing is definitely a common theme where people are stuck. They don't know what to do. They feel like frozen and fear. And so we were just trying to talk through that. And yeah, that came up that like, how do you compete with these $99 bookkeepers? And Michelle answered it perfectly. You don't.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of times, and it's hard for us to see it too, but even the potentials that you're talking to, when you're looking at the $99 bookkeeping and stuff, what are they truly getting for that $99 at the end of the day? Because we've even looked at, there's a company, and I'm not going to be able to think of the name of it, but they do like these packages, and I want to say it's $200 a month or something like that. That includes like their bookkeeping software, everything. We had looked at, Sherry and I were working with this other company to do some contract work and trying to get them to switch over to QuickBooks at the time. And once we started digging into what they were doing, the way everything was set up is very similar to QuickBooks. And they were setting all these auto rule ads up and stuff like that. So we all know at the end of the day, auto roll ads are great, but if they're not double checking the work, they weren't reconciling the accounts, they weren't doing any of those things. So to say, hey, we're doing $99 bookkeeping, yeah, but like how accurate is it? Are they reconciling the accounts? Are they double checking all the things? So you're probably not comparing apples to apples, because if you're charging $300, you're doing and they're charging 99 for the same thing, you're putting in way more work at the end of the day, and you're giving them more and what they actually need. So some of these $99 are the ones that you have these clients come to you complaining. And we see it all the time where they'll go for, hey, I'm going to go for the cheaper person. And then they're going to come back to you later and they're like, hey, this did not work out how I thought it was going to work out or whatever. So definitely don't get hung up on that.
Tracy, I love that. I love that issue because it's valid. I totally understand when you don't have the track record or the testimonials or the customer reviews to fall back on when somebody asks you, like, hey, most people probably don't ask, but when somebody's looking at you, and it's nice to post those types of things. But what I like to say is, have you ever helped anybody in the past? How much have you done any bookkeeping in the past? Maybe you don't have written testimonials or video testimonials of clients, but have you ever helped anybody? Have you ever gotten on a call with somebody and just said, hey, did you realize that you should have separate LLCs set up for your business? And this is a conversation that I just had. Yeah, so think about your experience working with that bookkeeping job, and you can absolutely reframe the work that you did and how you helped during those 6 months. So maybe it's not a specific quote or review from a client itself, but you can always fall back on that 6 months that you have experience and say, oh, yes, I did this when I did XYZ. That will propel you forward as an expert. Offering free tidbits is another great way to make yourself look like an expert, because you are.
Yeah, most definitely. One thing that I did in the beginning of my business, and still every once in a while, when you hop on calls, these discovery calls and stuff with potential clients, usually they have tons of questions. You're able to provide a lot of value. You might not be what they're looking for at this moment. And a lot of times I ran into that in the beginning because of the people who were in my circle, but I hopped on every call I could get on, and I still do. But what I would do is ask for them a review in exchange for that. And they always saw, hey, I had a 30-minute hour call with Megan and she gave me this much value on a free call. Like I know what she's going to provide if I took her on as a bookkeeper for services. So think about that. Other thing, somebody told me in the beginning, a coach told me in the beginning of my business, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. So I've hung on to that forever. Everybody who owns a business has started from the bottom at some point, even if it was a family owned business that their parents owned or whatever the case is, they did not know their business fully. So you're not going to know everything going into it. And most of them are going to understand that and totally relate to that. I heard a real estate agent say that the way she looked at it in the beginning of her business, trying to sell houses and stuff because somebody asked her, how are you going to help me? You've never sold homes. She told her response to them was, you're right. I've never sold a home, but I'm going to give you 200% because you're my first client. You're my only client, and I want to succeed at this and I want to make this work. So I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure this is successful for you. So if you know your personality and you know that's going to be you going into the business and doing that, then you know you're going to give that to them. And you can use that even if you've been a stay-at-home mom forever and now and you have your accounting degree or whatever and you're trying to start your bookkeeping business. What are some things that you've done as a stay-at-home mom? You're probably pretty organized. You've juggled schedules. You've done your home budgeting. You've done all these things. What are some things that even as that would translate into your bookkeeping business to doing bookkeeping for other people? Think about those things and how you can provide value to people with that, because you, even though it seems like, hey, I've never done this before, or I don't have that much experience, you probably have way more than what you do, than what you think you do. And you obviously have more than what the person that's coming to you, because if they knew everything about bookkeeping, they wouldn't be coming to you to ask those questions or to ask you to handle it, or either they don't have the time to do it, whatever the case is. So you have something that they don't have from that aspect. And then also, like for me, I didn't have experience whenever I first started. I didn't know the bookkeeping or anything, but again, knew myself and know that I'm going to give these people the best job that I can. And I know that, hey, if I don't know that answer, I'm going to go find that answer. And I knew I had a group of people that I could turn to get those answers from. So make sure you have people in your corner. You have this group. If you're in our paid group, you have our paid group, you have our coaches. Lean on anybody that you have in your corner and make sure you're getting good answers and things like that. And if you're doing that, you're providing the best value to them that you can, then you're just as good as the next bookkeeper up the street or better because you're doing those things. How do they give me reviews? You can have them do it several different ways. If you have Google My Business, you can have them leave you a Google review. If you have your Facebook business page set up, you can have them leave reviews on there. They can email you a review and then you can just use it to make post for. You can do any of those things. So there's whatever platform you're using that you want to build reviews up for. Michelle said, I tend to highlight my experience through client education, meaning there's plenty of business out there. If the client doesn't know initially and I educate them through what they feel they can handle it on their own, then I succeeded and they will refer the next person for sure. Yeah, most definitely. There are there are so many business owners out there. There's so many different. So yeah, just because you show this person they're able to go out and do it, then yeah, they're going to be the next person to refer you. I've had so many people that just having the conversation, just having a discovery call conversation and telling them like, hey, I know where you're at in your business right now. We're not going to be a good fit because you're not there, or you like they told me they weren't ready for a bookkeeper or whatever, but here's how to handle it. Those are some of my best referrals because they're sending people to me because I didn't just say, oh no, you have to have my services. You can't do this on your own. Some people can, and some people want to do it on their own, and that's okay. There's definitely more people out there. I love you guys. So helpful on these lives. Other companies say their Zoom is going to give you info, and then they spend the whole time just talking about their course and never good info. Their course is crazy expensive. Thank you. You're welcome, Tracy. I appreciate you that you said that for sure. And I mean, one thing we know y'all, we want to provide, we've been in y'all's shoes starting our business. I'm a single mom. I had no money whatsoever, was barely making my bills whenever I started my business. So we totally get that. And we know that if y'all see the value just like this, if you're seeing the value here in our free group, when you get to a point, we want to help y'all get to that next level because you'll get there and want to grow your business too. So yeah, we totally get that. We've been there for sure. Let me check Restream and make sure we don't have any other comments. If I'm missing any, oh wait, if I'm missing any comments or anything, y'all definitely let me know. So I do want to talk a little bit about, we talked some when we did the Zoom call with Jennifer Allwood when she was on about fear and inaction and all those things. So I want to circle back to that a little bit and talk about like your goals. Thank you, Tracy. Tracy, I appreciate that. that definitely really means a lot. So we appreciate when y'all say that stuff for sure. So one thing I wanted to talk about for me, and just a little bit about my story in case some of y'all haven't heard or and whatnot. I started my business in 2019. I started my business because my daughter was wanted to start doing baton twirling competitively. And I was trying to take off work and stuff at my job that I was at the time. And it was issues and all the things. So I knew that if I was ever going to be there, my friend was bringing her to practice and everything. If I was ever going to be there for the competitions and stuff, I was going to have to figure out something else. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I came across something that said, hey, you can do bookkeeping at home, work for yourself, make your own hours. So I ended up signing up for this course, doing all the things. I had no bookkeeping experience. I was working at an eye doctor's office at the time. And just like all of you, especially the first conversations you have, super nervous. How am I going to have this conversation with anybody? Because I don't know what I'm talking about, all the things. So there was like the very first conversation, this was 2019, so a lot of people were not okay with the whole virtual aspect of things yet because COVID hadn't hit. And after COVID, everybody opened up and realized, hey, we can't do things virtually. But everybody I was running into was wanting to meet in person and have conversations. So I remember being in the parking lot of a coffee shop going to meet this person, and literally, like, I'm about to throw up because I'm so nervous. I don't know what to say to this person. How am I going to handle this? And literally almost did not walk in. But I reminded myself of what my why was. And I'll tell y'all this, when one thing that truly helped, I'd already bought the course and everything because I bought the course, started, and was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. We had a Mother's Day thing for my daughter's baton twirling stuff because she was doing it recreationally at the time. And the coach had walked up and handed me a piece of paper and said, hey, can you give this to her mom for my daughter? And that hit me really hard when she said that, because I was like, wait, they don't even realize I'm her mom because I'm not the one that's bringing her to practice and all the things. So other parents didn't realize that was me. They thought my friend was her mom. When that happened, that's what I hung on to every time something hard happened in my business. So sitting in this parking lot of the coffee shop, hey, I don't know what to go in and say. That whole situation replayed in my mind. And that, hey, if I'm going to do this or I'm going to make this happen, this feels like the outlet. This is what I have to do. If it's not going to work, it's not going to work, but I got to walk through the door and at least see. To this day, like, I always hold on to that, and even I talk to bookkeepers and stuff all the time. And one thing that I've seen all the time is the ones who have a really strong why, that you've gotten really emotional about whatever that why is, or why you're doing your business, what your goals are. Those are the ones who you don't let nothing stand in your way. The fears don't hold you back. You show up no matter what, because it's not easy and you're never going to know all the answers. And did I know everything she asked me whenever I walked in? No, I didn't. And she didn't either. She didn't even know what she was looking for, that person, but she ended up signing up and let me do her bookkeeping services because she knew she needed reports to hand over to a tax person. So you just never know how the situation's going to turn out. But I did mindset work constantly, and I hung on to my why. So I would definitely, I don't know, we're halfway through, a little bit more than halfway through the year now, but I would definitely figure out what your goals are. What are you trying to reach by the end of this year? We're at the end of July. So by the end of 2024, where are you in your business? Why is it so important to reach those goals? And what are those goals that you want to accomplish? And y'all, when I say dig deep, dig deep. So think about not only how, if you reached whatever those goals are, how is it going to affect you? How is it going to affect your family? How is it going to affect everybody around you? So think about those things and really focus on those goals. And I cannot tell y'all, every time it seems like, oh, I'm having issues signing clients, or I lost a client or whatever, I always circle back and okay, what am I doing different now that I need to do that I was doing at that time? And it's usually, hey, I haven't been working on focusing back on my goals again, or I haven't been showing up as much as I should be for marketing. I haven't worked on mindset recently, whatever the case is. So you need to be very aware of that, but figure out what your goals are and remind yourself all the time, whether it's a vision board that's right there where you can see it, you're rewriting your goals, you're rereading your goals, anything along those lines.
I love that. And I just wanted to add, I don't know if you've heard of it, Megan, but the 7 levels deep. Have you heard of that?
Mm-mm.
So it's this exercise, and I've never gotten farther than doing 3 levels. It's on YouTube. I think it's Dean Graziosi. Let me actually Google. Yeah, seven. So 7 levels deep to success, and it's supposed to really uncover your why. And at the very bottom, that like once you're at the 7th level, that's like your main why. It should make you cry, like it should be very emotional for you. Because if you think about it, what's actually going to get you to move, right? What is that bridge? It's going to be your why. The bridge between inaction and action is your why. We need to figure out that why so that you can walk over that bridge and start acting. So, yeah, check out 7 levels deep. It's really cool. You'll probably cry, but yeah, it's a good thing. It's really cool exercise to do. And it's super helpful. Once you have your why and you have that bridge, like it's just going to be easier and easier to cross it into action, from inaction to action.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. And one of the things that like anytime you listen to mindset that they say like with fear, it's just like a muscle. So just like going to the gym, the more you do it, the more you show up, the easier it gets. Does it ever go away? Does the pain ever go away when you're going to the gym? No, not ever. But it gets easier. The whole process does. So definitely, definitely. So yeah, focus on your why. That I cannot tell y'all how much that's been the driving factor in my business and why I truly feel like has got me where I did and got me where I did as quick as I could because I started my business and like officially launched and everything of June of 2019. I was able to leave my full-time job November the 1st of 2019. So I had pushed and replaced my full-time income at that point, and it's just been do it. Now we have 2 businesses helping other people do the same thing because of that passion. Because y'all, if we can do it, y'all can too, is how. So definitely. And another thing to keep in mind is and this came from Jennifer Allwood's book. So if y'all were on the call with her or y'all started listening to her book since we've had the call with her, one thing that she always says is like when you're not showing up for your business, not only are you doing a disservice to yourself, but you're doing a disservice to others. If you're so like just for an example, with us with our bookkeeping, let's say somebody is having their the husband owns a business, the wife is doing the bookkeeping. They're fighting all the time because she's trying to get answers from him and whatever. You could save a marriage because you're doing the bookkeeping. Like you have no idea. But by you not making the post, by you not telling these people, they have no idea what you do or what you offer. I have a client who came to me recently who had a $20,000 tax bill that she didn't even come to me like, hey, can you look at my bookkeeping? She wanted to switch to be an S corp, and I was like, hey, let's review your books first. And when we reviewed the books, it wasn't the taxes weren't filed correctly, nothing was done. So she got a refund back at the end of the day. But the reason she reached out was because she was like, hey, I keep seeing your posts on Facebook. So because I showed up, she saw my post. So you never know who needs what you have to offer. And a lot of business owners don't even know that's a thing that, hey, I can outsource my bookkeeping. They feel like they have to hire a full-time employee to be able to do that. So talk to people, whether it's in person, whether it's social media, email marketing, whatever it is, make sure people know. And a lot of times they're seeing like, hey, you're a bookkeeper. They don't know what it is or don't realize. Sherry tells a story all the time. She has a friend who came to her and was like, hey, is this what you do? Because I just spent too many hours doing it. Like it doesn't click until they actually need that service or they've been in that situation and they're like, oh yeah, let me reach out to this person. So keep doing it. I'm going to tell y'all, I did so much mindset work when I started my business. The person I am now is not who I was then, I can tell you. And so it took a lot of mindset work, but I also was in the car 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening, commute, going to work. So I was listening to a lot of audiobooks. The very first one I listened to was Jump by Steve Harvey. It's on Audible. And it's been out for a little while, so you can probably get it anywhere now at this point, like the libraries and stuff. But this book, if you don't know his story, he was like living in his car at points in his life. He was homeless and like all the things. So listening to his story was so motivating for me because it was like, I don't, if he can do what he did and he's on TV, he had, and if you've listened to any of his stuff, he had literally had a teacher telling him, like laughing at him because he said he would want it to be on TV. He sends her a TV for Christmas every year so she doesn't miss his shows and stuff. So I thought that was just so funny. But like he had people in his corner, like that should have been in his corner telling him like, hey, you're never going to do this. That's a joke. You can't be on TV and look where you're coming from. And he was living in his car and now he's a multimillionaire, like doing all these big things. That was one of the first books that I listened to starting my business. And but one of the things that he references, and if you've, there's a YouTube video that started, is the reason why he wrote this book pretty much, because at the end of Family Feud, he would always do these motivational speaks to the audiences and stuff. And he did one about it. And his thing is at some point in your life, you always have to jump. Either you're gonna willingly do it or you're gonna be pushed off the ledge. So like you have to make that decision. Are you gonna do this? Are you going to do it willingly or are you going to wait until? And so I tried to use that as well because, and then not long after, of course, COVID happened and we all seen what that was like. A lot of jobs closed. You had no choice but to figure something else out on your own. So having your own business, you're in more control of those situations because yes, did we lose clients during COVID? Yes, most definitely did lose some clients during COVID. But guess what? We were able to go out and market, find new clients, grow your business better, offer more services to the clients that you knew did need other services, things along those lines. So you're in a lot more control than at corporate working a 9 to 5 and you have no control over what's going to happen tomorrow. And a lot of people, sometimes they feel like, because I had a lot of people in the beginning of my business, are you really going to leave your 9 to 5? You're getting a paycheck every day, every week and stuff. And sometimes people feel like that's a security because, hey, you have that, you're getting a paycheck. But the reality is, at the end of the day, COVID happened. Some of those people didn't get a paycheck the next week because COVID happened and the businesses shut down and stuff like that. So you really don't know. So it's risky whether it's working a 9 to 5 or your own business. But okay, find your why as well. That I'm gonna put these down. I'm gonna check those out. I've never heard of him. But y'all, I will tell you, like mindset work and focusing on my why has been like huge for my business for sure. And when I say mindset work, a lot of people, some people are like, no, I'm a positive person. I don't need mindset work. Yeah, okay. It's what my response is to that because I feel like everybody does. And I feel like even I'm 5 years into my business now, and I still constantly am doing mindset work. And there's always something. I've listened to Jennifer Allwood's Fear is Not the Boss of You book probably 10, 11 times now. And every single time I listen to it, I'm at a different season in my life, a different part of my business, different things like that. So something different pops out and I'm like, oh, I need to work on that. I need to work on this. So you never know. And there's so many different authors out there, mindset coaches, all the things. So it can be, you listen to an audiobook. It can be, if you like to sit down and read, sit down and read. But and a lot of people always say, I don't have time. I always felt like that too, that I didn't have time to sit down and read because I was in the car 4 hours a day, single mom. I was working the rest of the time. And then we're getting home, go to bed, felt like. But it was something that I could pop on in the car and listen to when I did audiobooks. You can do YouTube videos. You can do a YouTube video while you're getting ready in the morning. I do that a lot of times now because there's 10, 15-minute videos and that 10, 15-minute video can get you super pumped up. If y'all need suggestions on people to listen to, books to read, anything like that, I'm happy to give that to y'all. We're actually working on a 100 book list for a blog so y'all can have list of books. But YouTube, Eric Thomas, I'm drawing a blank now, of course. Eric Thomas is like one of my favorite, but Steve Harvey has a lot of YouTube videos. And if you just type in mindset, they have tons of stuff that comes up that'll come up mindset related. I find most mindset or self-help books are overly religious, and I'm into self-help but not religion. Okay, so It depends because I agree and I disagree. And I'll tell you, I'll be 100% open and honest with you. When I started my journey in 2019, at that time, I was not going to church or anything like that. So I would not have called myself religious. I'm not going to say I didn't believe any of those things. So I did find books. A lot of it is like, it's not religious at all. So and then now, of course, I'm in church all the time. So I try to listen to something that relates more back to the Bible because I want to see how it plays into the mindset stuff. So two totally different. Fear is not the boss of you. Fear is my homeboy. I was trying to think of the name of the other one. Fear is my homeboy is the very first fear-based book that I listened to. And then once it was a lot of can I not think of the word? Manifestation stuff. So how can we relate that back to the Bible without using the manifestation is what I was looking for when I came across Jennifer Allwood's book, Fear is Not the Boss of You. So if you're looking for something that's not, Fear is my homeboy. And I can drop a link if I think I have that. I can pull it up real quick. But I can give you a list of books if you want stuff that's not religious based. The You're a Badass books, those are not religious based. Lucky Bee is not religious based. Yeah, thank you. But yeah, so any of those and their mindset and yeah, they don't touch on the religion aspect of it at all. Let's see, when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. Yes, I know. I love Eric Thomas. He is another one who kind of came from nothing and he has a PhD and he got a PhD just because he came from nothing and wants to be able to say he had a PhD and all the things. So it's really inspiring. And he coaches a lot of students and athletes and stuff, but he also does like big businesses and all those things. But yeah, Tracy, if you need other suggestions on books, like I can give you tons that are not. So it's just all about finding. And that's why I say don't listen to like just one and be like, okay, I don't need mindset work or this is not my thing or whatever, because there's so many different coaches out there and they say it different ways and it's something that you relate to that's totally different. Because then you're saying that, and then I run into people who are like, no, the Bible this, the Bible that, so I can't listen to mindset books because it's totally against everything that he says. But if you listen to Jennifer Allwood, she relates everything back to the Bible and biblically. So it can go both ways for sure. Tracy, definitely feel free to reach out to me if you have questions. We want to give y'all as much value as we can on these calls. So wherever y'all feel like y'all need support, reach out to us, let us know, and we're happy to do that. If you feel like you need more support than what just on these calls, we have our one-to-ones, we have our paid group and stuff as well. I hope y'all have an awesome week and we will see y'all here next Thursday.